let me simply introduce you to my story. So, in January 2015, I went to Germany for work, and in Germany I worked a pretty cheap job. I worked in a call center, customer service. It was not customer service, it was in sales. So I went to Munich. I was working in Munich, and maybe some of you know, Munich is a very expensive city, so rent is very high. It's not a nice place to work for minimum wage, as you can understand. But well, I did it. It was pretty hard. It was a surprise. A friend of mine, a former working colleague, just called me up, said, "Hey, do you want a job? I'm here in Germany." Explained it a little bit, and 2 or 3 weeks later, I went to Germany. Now, in Germany, I had a pretty hard time. I did get lucky with an apartment. I didn't prepare anything, so I just went there. And the apartment in of itself was alright. It was a family apartment for a family, but just a couple of workers lived in there. So it was 3 of us in the beginning, later on 4 of us. And my roommates never spent any time in this apartment due to the fact we didn't have any internet connection or television, so we had absolutely nothing. So it was a pretty hard time. I worked my ass off for half a year in the sales department, which is just a fucked up job. So I moved to a different place, also changed the company, but how should I say it? I can't say I broke down, because mentally I was pretty strong, but physically it seems that the stress I endured was too much, let's say. So I started having panic attacks, and never in my life did I have panic attacks, so I didn't know what was going on. I just noticed how I was at work, sitting, doing my normal job, and sweating like crazy. So I was a little bit confused about it. I didn't know what was going on, and of course a panic attack, if you don't know, your heart rate goes up. It has physical, how should I say, physical, I don't know, conditions. Let's put it this way. And when that happened to me, I, of course, went to a doctor, and I made a pretty bad choice. The apartment where I was in, I took over the ISP, the internet service provider. So at the time when this happened, we didn't have any connection. Besides my mobile phone, I didn't know what to do, where to go, you know. So I went to the nearest doctor I found. And by the way, it was an old mobile phone, and if you never heard it, they always update the apps, so they would crash on all the phones. And that's exactly what happened to me all the time, so I couldn't even really look up a doctor while I was sick. So I took just the nearest one and went there. So how should I say, the condition I had was pretty harsh. So I had daily panic attacks, like I don't know how long, but a lot of them throughout the day. So I even when I went back from work, I passed out for, I believe it was 2 hours. So that's the condition I was in. I just passed out for 2 hours home, while I was at home. So yeah, I wasn't good at all. I was feeling pretty bad, to be honest. And like I said, I never had it, never had panic attacks, didn't know what it was. I was pretty scared because I was thinking, of course, I'm having a heart attack. I passed out for 2 hours. I was thinking I'm done for. So when I went to the doctor, she told, well, she how should I say, made a medical exam, and she determined it was due to the thyroid. So my thyroid had 4 cysts inside of them, and cysts come in different shapes. I mean, they can be harmful. It can be something like cancer. It can be just a sac filled with water. That was my case. Not just water, there's blood and bacteria and all kinds of stuff inside there. So during the exam in of itself, the doctor did something pretty stupid. She took the head of the, what is it called? Not tomograph, fuck. I forgot what the thing is called. I should have looked it up. Ultrasound device, the head of the device she scans with. She used this part to press on the thyroid, and she was angry during the exam. How things played out, I think I didn't give any details while she was mad, but I think she was trying to hit on me and abuse my situation because I was pretty confused at the time. I didn't know what was going on. I came to her having a panic attack, which is funny. Every time I went outside, even when I just saw people across the street, I get a panic attack. So yeah, I think she wanted to do something and I rejected her. She's an older lady, doesn't look, she isn't my type, let's say it like that. So she used the head of the device to press on the thyroid, and she popped a cyst. When she did that, I didn't feel it. I just looked at her face and saw how she clenched her teeth while pressing on my thyroid. So when that happened, she immediately started looking at it again, and like I said, I didn't feel any pain, which is funny, kind of, right? So when she looked at it again, I saw just the how should I say, the expression on her face. It just went blank, and I noticed, of course, how she was searching for the cyst, which, like I said, popped. So after that happened, I had a couple of exams which literally were not useful, but she sent me to those exams. Like the lung, for example, I had my lungs scanned because I had a burning during one of those panic attacks. It felt like my lungs are burning. So, well, it wasn't nonsensical to send me there, so I guess it was alright. But there was a lot of exams, and during that time, she always gave me just the day I visited. So, in her eyes, after that happened to me, I was absolutely confused. I had the worst, however you say, I'm from Croatia, like I said, the worst time of my life. At one point, I honestly thought I'm gonna have a heart attack and die. So that's how bad it was. And well, of course, she wanted to get rid of me, but due to my situation, no internet, a bad connection on the phone, like the slow internet, and just being helpless, let's say it like that, getting this cyst popped also meant that all the goo, the water, bacteria, the blood, whatever is inside, got absorbed by my thyroid. So the panic attacks I had were one thing, but the condition worsened a million times after that happened. As you can imagine, if the thyroid has to absorb all that whatever goo, or however I should say, well, it's going to be much worse. And I should choose another word, I think. So, yeah, that went on for a while. I was literally just in bed. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat. I lost a lot of weight during those 2 weeks, and it's really weird because you can't even think. That's the weird thing. You can't form thoughts the right way. It's hard to explain because you can think. You can. How should I say? It's not throughout the whole day like I'm just passed out or something. That wasn't the case. It's just very hard to think because of the chemicals in you. Well, your thyroid produces hormones, for example. One of the things it produces, it's connected to your brain, to the hippocampus, I believe, if I remember right. And it governs a couple of organs. One of them is the heart. So it governs the metabolism. So as you can imagine, having problems with your thyroid means also if there's something wrong, you are gonna get panic attacks. What are panic attacks? Very high rate, heart rate. Like you've ran a marathon, but you are simply sitting in your room, of course. So yeah. Well, so after that happened, she sent me to a psychologist, and which doesn't, of course, make sense if you think about it. Of course, like I said, she was trying to fuck me up because the people, my neighbors, most likely heard me talking to family and friends, and I said I'm going to sue her. So after a while passed, of course, I did talk to them, and when I was better, and well, I believe due to the fact that's just how neighborhoods work. You have all kinds of people. They go to the nearest doctor. So my best guess is that one of the neighbors who heard me talk about it just informed her. So she thought she was in trouble, of course, because she was. And well, she did send me to this psychologist. I didn't care so much why. I did complain about it. I thought this doesn't make any sense. Why would I go to her? Oh, this is just standard. This is just standard. Don't worry about it. This is just standard. That's what she said. So yeah, I went there. The psychologist was pretty dumb, to be honest. She wasn't really I didn't take her seriously because she didn't ask me any serious questions. It was a nonsensical conversation. She was just trying to get me into the not only university, it was at a university, so that's why I'm saying that, but into stationary care. That's what she tried to do. So during that time I lost my job due to the fact she didn't give me days off, the right days off. She missed days off. I mean, the other doctor, not the psychologist, but I got days off from every doctor I visited during that time, of course. And yeah, my company, the company I worked for, canceled my contract, fired me because of that, because I was missing one day. And I was already, I believe it was 2 weeks, but I was new in the company. I switched companies and I was maybe working for 2 months, I believe, if I remember right. So I was fairly new in the company, and that's what most likely was the reason. Because in addition, I didn't really want to tell what was going on. That was when she sent me to the psychologist. They how should I say, they called me from the company, from my company. They called me, they asked about it, what is going on, when are you coming back, so on and so forth. And I didn't know. Like, she was screwing me with all those days off, so I honestly didn't know what was going on. So nonsensical diagnosis like smoker. I mean, there's like these terms, these specific terms they use. So on the paper itself, there were all kinds of nonsensical stuff on there. The diagnosis for panic attacks, yes, it was made. It was made, I believe, if I can remember right. I didn't look it up in the near past. So after that happened, I canceled the appointments with the psychologist because it didn't make any sense. I mean, think about it. If you have a broken arm, you're not going to talk to a psychologist to heal it, right? So that was for a while it. I got better just as time went by. And, well, during that time, I started noticing weird behavior of the people surrounding me. Like, I go to the supermarket and people are talking about me. Like, I kind of became paranoid. Now, at the time, I did. Well, I should keep talking, so you will understand soon what I mean.